Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Nonprofit HR Support Explore Mineral webinar. My name is Vanessa, and I am the Membership Support Associate with California Association of Nonprofits, CalNonprofits for short. We are glad to have you join us this morning. Mineral is one of our most popular member benefit, and this webinar will cover all the tools that Mineral offers to its users. If you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the Q&A box. We will be sending out a recording of this webinar in a few days. And next, I would like to introduce Holly Rose, the Customer Success Manager at Mineral, and our presenter for today. Take it away, Holly.
Thank you so much. Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you for taking the time to join. Vanessa, were you able to, I'm sharing my screen right now, but I'm not sure there we go.
There you go.
Okay,
yeah.
Wonderful. I just want to make sure that everybody can see my screen all right. Wonderful.
Yes.
So as Vanessa said, my name is Holly Rouse, and I'm the dedicated customer success manager here at Mineral. And what we're going to be doing today is going through just a high-level overview to make sure everybody understands all of the wonderful resources that you're getting through Mineral, again, by being with CalNonprofits. So you're getting these resources because you are with CalNonprofits, and we'll take you through what those look like and how to use and navigate them. But if you do have questions, feel free to put those in the Q&A, and I'll try to answer those as we go through today. So we're going to go ahead and jump in. As you can see, I am in my Mineral profile. You log in with a username and password. So if you haven't been set up, or you have questions on how to get access, or even just getting a link to reset your password, that can be done. Vanessa or Lynn can actually reset that for you or make sure that you're added. And once you have that welcome email, again, you'll create a password and you'll log into Mineral. Now, once you're in Mineral, you'll see you have a dashboard, which is in the center of the screen. We'll go through those different modules and kind of features here in a second. It's just if you scroll down, you'll notice you have above the orange kind of layout here, you have like a white navigation toolbar. We'll talk about what all of those different titles and categories are. But the first thing I want to focus on today is your little avatar in the top right corner. Now, this little avatar is a great place to go if you ever need to make edits to your profile or your company profile. So remember, when you're set up with Mineral, you're set up with a company profile first, and then you are added as a user to that company profile. So for instance, if you ever need to make changes to your headcount at your company, or if you ever need to make changes to your individual profile, whether it's your name or just making sure you're receiving the right newsletters, you would want to come into this avatar section. And let's just say, for example, you need to update something in your profile. You're going to click My Profile. And then you'll be able to click Actions in the top right and then edit My Profile. I think this is really important, especially for new users. If you've been added and again, you're not quite sure, are you making sure you're seeing the right things? Do you want to change, again, the state or multiple states that you want to see when it comes to law alerts? You want to make sure these boxes are checked on so that you're receiving our question of the week, our newsletter for what matters, and our insights from Mineral Intelligence. And as you hover next to each newsletter, you can actually see what does that entail? What am I going to be receiving? And maybe how often am I going to be receiving this type of newsletter from Mineral? So that is where you're going to be able to update your personal information, as well as in that little avatar in the top right, you have the company portion where you can come in here and do the same thing, but at a company level. You can see mine is a fake account I've created, but yours will have your name and all the information, your address, and so forth that you can make changes to. One of the most important pieces in this area is going to be number of employees at this location. If for some reason that number when you come in here is inaccurate or needs to be updated, please, please, please update that here. So maybe, one was put in and you need to make that 10. You can actually add it into that area and save settings for that company profile. Now, I'm going to explain in a couple different ways how important that number is, because again, the way you're receiving updates, as well as when you contact different pieces of the platform, they're going to verify that headcount. Because as everybody knows, laws are going to change based on the size of your company. So having that accuracy is very important. And I do see some questions coming in. Okay, great. Thank you for those updates. Wonderful. If Again, if those of you don't have the information that you need, I know Vanessa's dropping in some information into that Q&A for everybody. So clicking the CalNonprofits logo in the top left will actually bring you back to your home page at any time. It's really nice because I know there's a lot I'm going to show today. So this actually brings you back to what it looks like when you've logged in. Now we're going to just briefly touch on your dashboard as you scroll down when you've logged into Mineral. You'll see you have a little wheel on the top right. This wheel is a nice way for you to personalize the layout of your dashboard, just like your Facebook or Instagram. I don't know if you can do it on Amazon, but it's a way for you to say, here's what I want to see at the forefront when I log in. So as you can see, my contact experts is number one. Now, when you log in, you might see featured content as number one. But what's really nice is you can actually drop and drag around those different items. And then when you click out of it, it will lay out the way you want it to be seen. Now, the reason I have the experts at the very top of my dashboard is because it's one of our most widely used resources. So really what this allows you to do is 12 hours a day, 5 days a week, reach out and contact an HR dedicated expert through Mineral. So as you can see, you can either call that phone number here that is on the contact experts line, or you can go through the steps of submitting a question to them, whichever is the easier process for you. I'm a little old school. I like to talk to somebody. So I would, if it were me, I might call in that phone number. And again, it's going to show me the time frame based on, where I live. My profile's set up in California. So you can see the Pacific time. They're available 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. They're closed an hour on Fridays for team collaboration. So you can pick up that phone and call them. You will get a live person to speak with. Now, let's say that's not the easiest option for you in the moment and you need to submit a question. Well, now you can go through the steps down below of what type of expert are you looking to contact. And you can just click through a couple of options, which I will show here. The next is what type of help are you looking for? Maybe for this example, it's just an advice question. Then you'll click next. And then the last portion before the physical, submission of this is we need to know, again, what state is the question applying to. Maybe it's just in California, or if it applies to like a remote employee somewhere else or a different state, you can click all states. But as you can see that number 10 next to California, that was the number I updated in the company profile earlier. So again, why it's so important when you get to this step to say, wow, is 10 that accurate number for my head count? Maybe it's just one office, but I have multiple offices and I need to encompass the total head count of my company. You also as well have the ability to update that here. So again, accuracy is going to matter because those advisors are going to go off the information in your profile. So we're going to say yes to California. That's where my question applies. And then we're going to hit next. The last piece of submitting is physically putting in that white box what the question is. Whether you want to copy and paste it in from an email or physically type it out, you can do whatever is easiest, as well as you can attach a file, PDF, an image, and then you can click down to the right here and click submit once you've entered in that information. They say they will get back to you within 1 business day, but majority of the time it's within the same day. The reason for the one the 1 day response time is if, again, you submitted late in the evening, they allow themselves that business day turnaround time to respond back to you. Now, what's really nice is whether you call or submit a question to those experts, every time you do that, it's going to store that question, concern, issue, whatever you've called or submitted about as what we call a case. So that way it's logged and you can always go back and reference those cases. So you can see when you called or submitted, who you spoke to, what was your question, what was the type, was it a benefits question, was it a health and safety category, and the case number and status. So you can always go back and view your My Cases at any time. Scrolling down, you have a featured content section. This is just kind of like a scrolling news banner for you. Again, you're going to see relevant content here that's more focused around your profile. So you're probably going to see more California relevant law alerts versus somebody that may live in Kentucky or New York. Their profile information is going to be how our system is making sure, hey, we think this end user would like to see these items because of their location. And again, you can click into any of them. You can thumbs up or thumbs down them. Maybe they apply to you, maybe they don't. I know this one actually just popped up this week, which is really important. California healthcare minimum wage, October 16th increase. So that was, I think a law alert that came out yesterday morning, possibly Sunday evening. So brand new law alert for those that have not seen this yet. This is brand new California healthcare minimum wage increase. So I can actually open that up by clicking go to page. And this is probably a great example for us during this webinar because this was a brand new law alert that just came out. And it looks like, again, the effective date is going to be 10/16. And it's applicable to California. It's a wage and hour category. And then you can read a little more about what that entails. And then you can even add it to your favorites page, print it, download it, or even copy links and share with other members that have access to Mineral. Hey, you need to take a look at this. This is something we need to prepare for, but really easy to store and save that information. Now, as you can see, I added it to my favorites. So when I go back to my dashboard and I scroll down past the things I've already talked about, you'll now see that in my favorites, I now have that law alert saved, California healthcare minimum wage. So what's really nice is as you start to utilize resources that you maybe need more accessible, whether that's a law alert, maybe it's a template, maybe it's a toolkit, things that I'll get to in a little bit, a lot of that content is going to be able to be saved in my favorites. So you can easily access it. Maybe you're the hiring manager and you have to constantly use the same pieces of information. We'll save that in your My Favorites area so you know where it's always stored and you can go back and easily view it. And again, it's right here on your dashboard. Now, I'm not going to get in too much in the to-do list, but you'll notice mine has a lot going on. Again, this is a demo account, so I use this for a lot of different purposes. But as you start to create and use pieces of the Mineral platform, we have reminders for you. So as you can see, I have some outstanding policies in my handbook. We're going to showcase the handbook tool in just a minute. But as I start to utilize the components and I have updates that need to be made or things that are brought to my attention, they're going to be added here in the to-do list. Just a reminder for you to take a look at those items, either plan ahead for those items or take action on those items. So again, just proactive alerts to bring to the forefront of your dashboard. I'm going to scroll back up to the top. Now you'll notice this Get Help icon at the bottom right corner. This is going to be where your help center is. I will showcase this at the end because it is way more relevant, has more context once I've shown the whole Mineral platform. But you can also see this is also where you can chat and contact technical support as well. So that Get Help icon is going to be for further education, information, and then obviously if you need technical support. Now what we're going to do is we're going to highlight kind of each piece of the banner up here. The first one is going to be HR compliance. So you have a tab. If you hover over it, you'll see that you have within this tab a compliance dashboard, law alerts, laws, an HR assessment, and a compliance calendar. So these are going to be different content pieces for you to dive into and then even go into specific topics. So one of the ones I do want to point out is the dashboard, because again, everybody's dashboard is going to look different. Because again, your size and your location could all be different. Your industry could all be different. And so what it's going to look at is that specific information for your profile. So again, it's now looking at me. I have 10 employees I'm telling the system, and it's going to give me some federal laws that may apply to my company. So as of right now, it looks like I don't have anything because I'm less than 10, but as I grow, these are going to be the things that I need to have in place for my company. And it'll actually give me more details on what those laws are and how to apply them. And then as you can see down below, I can actually dive into all of the law alerts for the state of California. So this is going to be more custom to your individual profile. So I recommend under the compliance, HR compliance tab is to kind of dig into these areas. The compliance calendar is another really cool one that you have the ability to download and actually add in your own personal or custom events for your company, but it's going to already have all the federal filing deadlines added for you. And then you can add in your own deadlines or add in your own events and then download the compliance calendar from here. So that's really nice. And then just as you saw earlier, we were able to kind of look at law alerts and laws. This will take you right into kind of like a search database for that. So you can actually come in and, filter different content for law alerts and laws, and say, hey, this is maybe the state I need to look at. But it is, again, going to pull up the most relevant information based on your profile. And then you can filter all of that on the left-hand side. At any time, and I might say this 2 or 3 times because I think it's important, at any time, you can always just come over here to this search bar and type in a keyword search. You don't have to go into the categories. You don't have to go filter. Maybe you're looking for, a handbook acknowledgement form, or maybe you're looking for, a hiring toolkit by state. Now, we do have those all broken out in different pieces, but just typing it in could save you a lot of time. So the keyword search is really easy to do. Okay, so we talked about majority of everything here in this compliance area. Oh, lastly, you do have an HR assessment. If you haven't taken it yet, that's a great tool for you to be able to just see where some possible areas of opportunity are, making sure you have those filing deadlines in place. You have the handbook maybe up to date. It's going to ask you, I think, 25 questions for you to survey, and then it'll give you a level of risk that your company could potentially be at, and then obviously give you some areas of recommendation based on how to use Mineral to make up for those possible areas of risk. Now we're going to focus on company policies, and as you hover over that area, you'll see there's only one option. It's called handbooks. You are able to build a seamless and completely compliant handbook with Mineral. Very easy to do. I'll walk you through those steps at a high level. But I also recommend for those that maybe want to get more into the nitty gritty, we are offering more and more training on just tool specific items. So I will touch if somebody's like, well, I want to do more of that. At the very end, some additional training that we're going to offer on just the handbook, for instance, upcoming. But as you can see here, I have a handbook I created 237 days ago. It is a single state handbook. And then as you can see, it has a bunch of red flag alerts, which means I have outstanding policies that need my attention. And as you create a handbook, you will get those alerts that say, hey, this policy has been updated. Take a look at your handbook and again, acknowledge the changes. Now, majority of the people who build and use our handbook tool, they're not HR experts. So they're not going to be able to, write legal policies. That's not why we have this. But we in the background are actually building and customizing and doing all of the legal policies, state and federal, so that when those changes are made, we have to let you, the user, know, hey, this change in this policy was rewritten for whatever reason, or it was moved out of a section of the handbook. And then we write it, inform you of those changes. And then all you have to do is log in and acknowledge that policy change. So it's pretty easy to do. But to show what a handbook looks like from scratch, I'll just take you through it. You'll come up here, you'll click create and then new handbook. I think this is a really good time too. I know October going into Q4, it's a busy time of year, but a lot of people are already starting to think, hey, come January of next year, like I want to have this in place and I want it to be created and rolled out maybe at the beginning of the year. So as you can see, I'm going to proceed with a single state handbook. I am not in sales whatsoever, but if somebody is interested in any of these additional options, we have a premium product that does encompass that. It allows the handbook to be built for multiple states, allows the handbook to be sent out for e-signature to employees. And as you can see, Spanish translation even gets into local policies. So you have that ability to get more information. We're going to go forth with our federal single state handbook. Maybe I am just a company in California and I don't need anything else. So handbook name, we're just going to call this a, I'm so not creative, demo handbook 2024. And it is, like I said, a federal one state handbook. And then you'll just fill out these boxes here. We just need you to fill out some settings information on, on the settings page, because we'll pull all of that content into your handbook. And just to give, again, a little more context, you are not writing legal policies. There may be some personalization pieces about your company that we're going to request from you because we can't write it for you, but majority of the handbook is going to be completed on your behalf by us. So what we need from you in this area is, how do you want certain things, titled or laid out? So, your company name will automatically pull in based on what CalNonprofits has put in for you in your client profile. Then you can upload a logo, and then you'll go through the steps of, maybe we are an agency. And this is really where you get to customize some of those pieces of how you want your employees reading your handbook. What are these items going to say? So maybe we call our employees team members. And then maybe just for fun today, the head of the company is Holly Rouse. That's me. I am the CEO of the company. So you'll fill that out according to your company. Let's call this human resources department. And then lastly, how do you refer to managers or supervisors? We're just going to say managers. So I'll show you when we get into the handbook where those items are going to be auto-filled, just less work for you at the end of the day. Now we get to choose the state that we operate in. So I went and found California and I click add state. Now, as you can see here, again, it pulled over that number 10, which I had updated earlier. You want to make sure that that head count is accurate when you go to save and review policies of the handbook, because it's going to formulate the handbook federal and by state based on that head count. So again, accuracy really does matter here based on the way the laws are going to be added to your handbook. So if 10's not right, maybe again, you get to this point and you haven't updated your profile and it's really 20, you can make the change here. It will let you proceed. It's just going to flag it with that red writing and say, hey, we're seeing 10 in your profile. Are you sure that's correct? You can still keep going forward, but again, accuracy is really important. On the right-hand side, you'll see that you're subscribed to email alerts for this handbook. You'll leave that box checked. That will allow you to receive those alerts. And in the top right, you will click Save and Review Policies. Now here in about 2 to 3 seconds, you have a completely compliant handbook for the state of California and at a federal level for 10 employees. That's how easy it is. Your handbook is created. It's in the table of contents at this point, and majority of the handbook is written and done for you. Now, as you can see here, you have all of these different categories that you can open up. Now, there's going to be some categories that we are going to require a little bit more information from you, and I'll give you a good example. So as I start to open up these areas, you'll see on the left-hand side, there is a policy type. We've given it like a color, a number, whatever it may be. The black check mark means it is a best practice. The red asterisk means it is a required policy. The blue circle means that it is optional. And then I will talk a little bit later about what a custom policy is. So you can start to go through here and open up and actually read about, well, what is accommodations for pregnancy, or what is conflicts of interest? There are a ton of policies that get added to your handbook, but again, maybe you're a 10-person employer and there's certain policies that you just don't need visible in your handbook. Maybe you don't have a training program. What's really nice is on the right-hand side, every single policy has a green toggle associated next to it. So you can actually turn policies on or off, meaning that when you turn it off and you go to the Actions tab when you're done, and you go to download this handbook to Word or PDF, anything that is not on the green toggle will not be visible in your handbook. And the reason for that is because we've created such a robust handbook tool that it can fit a small, medium, or large size employer. So there may be certain policies that just don't impact you and you don't need shown right now. So again, it allows you that customization to be able to say, hey, I don't need these visible. I'll turn these off. But as you can see, when we started to open up some of these categories, this little orange box that says requires customization, There are going to be certain parts in a policy or just a policy in general that we don't know enough about you to write it for you. So I always use these as a really good example. So if I were to open up about the company, and again, you can click into any policy. We give you instruction, description, all the information you need about what the policy is. And then, for instance, this doesn't have anything written for you because we don't know enough about you as an employer to write it for you. So this is where you would add in your statement, paragraph, copy and paste or type it out, and then you can save that policy. And that will be added to your handbook. So you can go through the different sections and see where that requires customization, hide or unhide different policies. Now, again, some of these, for instance, if we just open attendance, let's use this as a required policy, and you go to where the orange is. Again, you can make updates here in those areas where you may want to fill in different verbiage. But as you can see, anything in the double bracketed terms is going to automatically display the verbiage that you put in on that settings page. So if you preview a policy, client, so that was our name, managers, it's all, again, all the information that we had put in on that front or on that settings page, the agency. So again, less things for you to have to type out and edit. Our goal was to make less work for you at the end of the day. So you can go through the core and the state policies, take a look at all of the different categories and policy types, and take a look and make it adds to them if you need to add in some customization. And then you also have the ability to link what we call a custom policy. So that's under that actions tab. You can actually link something that doesn't exist in the handbook already. So maybe your employer does something unique. You know, maybe you have casual dress code, or you have stipulations around a holiday party, or certain, you know, for us at Mineral here with Tech, we actually have, you know, wellness days every quarter, which the company shuts down for. And we're given like an entire day to do something to better ourselves. So again, that's unique. That's something that, you know, is personalized and special to our company that isn't in a traditional handbook. Or again, you know, maybe you have something around donation and matching policies. Whatever it may be that is not in the handbook already, you can physically add it and create it. So by clicking new policy, you can actually add in the name of whatever you want to add and then the actual policy language. And that will add into your handbook like a physical policy that your employees will read when they go through the handbook. So really cool. Now I could spend a lot more time on the handbook, but I know for just time purposes, we're going to start to move on. And like I said, you can download the handbook as long as you have no outstanding flags. You can go back to the handbook settings at any time. You know, maybe things about the company have changed, the name, the head of the company, or even the size. Maybe it went from 10 to 30. So you can always make edits and changes to that information. And then once you're done, your handbook is now going to live in your library. As you can see, I have no outstanding flags because I created it today, and it's completely up to date with any new laws that have come through as of today. Whereas the one I created, you know, 9 months ago is sitting here with, let's open that one up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 outstanding policies in the handbook. So it goes to show that even if you're creating a handbook at the start of a year, within a few months, possibly weeks, depending on what state you're in, there could be, you know, impacts and changes that happen pretty fast. So you have to kind of stay on top of those, make sure your handbook is up to date. It is an evolving document. It is not a one and done. I always tell clients it is a breathing document. You want to update this. And as soon as you create one, it's just going to kind of stay the course with you as you make those changes and updates, and always lives in your library. Now, if you ever have questions on the handbook or a policy, or do I need to change this? Do I need to add this? Don't hesitate to use those HR advisors on your dashboard to contact them with questions. Okay. The next thing we're going to talk about is safety and training. Under the safety tab, you do have access to, we pulled in all of the safety courses that you have, which are also in the main course catalog, as well as a content library and OSHA logs. So you have that ability here for you to add an establishment and then record an incident or even go through a questionnaire to see if you need to, based on the incident, if it's something that you need to record. So you have that ability, and you can download those documents when you're done. Under training, you have a course catalog for not only safety, but all of your courses. So you'll be able to see all those different categories and what's, within those categories. So for instance, if I want to go look at safety, I can see that I have the safety package, which is a pretty big deal that you're getting that. And I have 167 safety courses available to me to go in and take. Now, what a lot of clients utilize Mineral for is to take trainings and assign them to their employees so they can track and manage and obviously get the certificates of those completions. So if that's something you're interested in, you'll come into training, you'll go to your actions tab, and you'll go to create new track. And then here you have the ability to, title a track. So maybe you've decided you want to assign, ladder training to the whole company. Let's say Q4 2024. You'll name the track, you'll give it a due date. So maybe I want this completed by, December 23rd. And then I can come down here into my course catalog. I can search for the course. Maybe I just want to search for ladder. Perfect. Ladder safety training. I can add that course to my track, or I can even dive into the different categories here and say, okay, well, let's go to transportation. And then you can add any courses into your training track. Now, again, a training track is just a way for you, the client admin, to manage how training is rolled out. You're going to have different people or different departments, different tenure, taking different types of trainings. So if you want that structure laid out, then you have that ability here. So I did just get a question, is the state required harassment training part of the training module? So what I'm going to do really quickly is just show you all what you have access to. You do have a harassment category. And when you open up harassment, you do have the ability to see what all falls into that. So it looks like you do have the California manager available. And then you also have the workplace harassment employee one, which does apply to pretty much all states that don't have a mandated training. So you have the California manager and all the other manager state mandated courses. If you have questions about the California employee course, I would reach out to Vanessa, and they can help at CalNonprofits answer any questions about additional courses. So for this example, I'm just going to keep going through for ladder safety training, and I'm going to click continue. Then you'll choose who you want to assign it to. So that pretty much means that you can add your employees into Mineral only for the training purposes. So they won't be able to see anything else. It really wants me to take some tours today. It really wants, or excuse me, you have the ability to see everything as a client admin, but employees do not. They only see the training that they are assigned to and their certificates. So they're not going to be able to see handbooks or anything else. It's only for the purpose of training for your employees. But they do have to be added to Mineral and receive a welcome email so they can create their password. But it's really simple and easy to do. So I'm going to assign it to my fake account and click continue so that we can just show what the next steps look like. And then you can have a welcome note, reminders that'll go out to the individuals on the track. And then once you save it, that will actually live here on your dashboard. So every time you log in, you come to training in your dashboard, you're going to be able to see all of the different tracks you've created, who they're assigned to, and what are the status of the individuals, because it allows you to really see their progress. Are they, in the middle of the training? Have they completed it? Are they overdue on the training? So this is just, again, a nice way for you to lay out formal training and be able to monitor and track it. Now, if you're a little overwhelmed by training, and maybe that's something you're in charge of more recently, we do have the option right up here. It's this blue button. It's called Course Selection Guidance. If you click that, it will allow you to request a meeting with one of our Learn Training HR experts. And really what they're going to do is work with you individually through like a custom consultation to build a formal training program. So they're going to look at, your location, your size, your industry, and again, all the things that maybe they don't know about you, that may be important to you. Also, all of the different mandates that may be, hey, you're in California. Here are the things that you need to be aware of. I know California recently had some workplace violence that went into effect, as well as different harassment mandated trainings. So they're going to look at all those pieces and help you build a formal training program. So this is a great way for you to get started, get your feet wet with training if you do need a little extra help. Under the Actions tab, you have different reports you can use: a dashboard report, user activity report. And then for anybody that may say, hey, Holly, we actually have some of our own trainings that we want to add to Mineral. Because again, you can't take our trainings out of Mineral, but you can add yours into our course catalog. It will allow you to upload your courses as long as you meet our file size, which is SCORM or AICC or SCORM 1.2 or 1.3. So you can physically, as long as they're in that file format, you can physically upload your courses into the course catalog for you to use to assign or take, however you want to use those courses. Again, that is under the Custom Courses Management under the Actions tab. You have an HR Tools area, which will allow you to dive into, as you can see here, some of the different tools, which is a salary comparison tool, job description builder, benefits documents creator for POP and WRAP docs, a minimum wage map, and different calculators that you can use. So I'm not going to go into these specifically, but you do have an area here where you can dive in and play around and get familiar with any of these HR tools. You have a templates area. Now, this is going to be similar to the compliance area. It's going to have forms, sample policies, letters, and toolkits where you can go in and you can pick different categories and play around. And then you can also filter too, to kind of see, let's just click toolkits, for example. Well, when I'm in here, you can see the most applicable ones come up for my profile. But now if I come over to category and maybe I just click hiring instead of all, California New Hire Toolkit will pop up for me. So you have the ability to kind of filter what you want to see. And let's say the recruiting toolkit is interesting to me. I can actually open up that toolkit, look at all the different documents that are associated with it. I can save it. I can print, download, so forth. Resources tab is the last tab we are going to talk about before I jump into the Help Center. This is actually one of my favorite areas, is the Q&A. This is because these are all the previously asked and answered questions by employers to our HR experts. So obviously they're anonymous. We block that information, but we share those questions because employers are all going through the same thing. The landscape of HR is changing and evolving, and everybody's trying to keep up with compliance matters. And, am I protecting myself, and what do I need to do? Especially if they're in a certain state or a certain industry. So you can see here, these are all the questions most recently that have been asked, and you can view the answers by the HR professionals. And then you can even go into a specific category. Maybe you only want to see hiring questions that have been asked. You can actually see, what do we do if we find a discrepancy in a background check? Are there questions or topics we should avoid during the hiring process? A candidate told us they have a disability. What do we need to do? So you can actually go through here, read what the question is and the advice or feedback from the advisor. So that's really cool. I think we definitely have some unique questions that have come through. You have a lot more further education under our video section, but one of the places I want to highlight is the webinars. Our team is actually responsible for keeping these continual trainings going. Now, by being with CalNonprofits, we're going to offer you these webinars that are specific, again, just by being a member of CalNonprofits. But if you ever want, further training on a day that we're not doing something, as you can see coming up here on Wednesday the 9th, the fundamentals of your mineral handbook. And like I said, we'll do some topics that are going to be a little bit shorter, more brief, not as long. And you can join us here and register here. I know it's a lot, and I've been trying to take less time so that it's not a full hour to go through all of the resources, because it is a lot to soak in a single sitting. So that's where I really challenge all of you to log into your accounts and play around, maybe go through some things I've talked about today, maybe get started on that handbook, or just going into your course catalog to view the accessible training. But if you ever have questions, or you need more information or education on a topic you just forgot, I forgot how Holly created that training track, or I don't quite remember how she built a handbook. Coming under this Get Help icon, and then you click into the Help Center, will allow you to access everything that you're going to need for the entire Mineral platform. So let's say, for example, you forgot where to go to build a handbook. You'll come and you'll find the area that says Company Policies and Smart Handbooks. You'll open up that box, and now you're in the Help Center for just the handbook area. So it'll have a video, and what's really nice too is these are short and seamless videos. These are 2 to 3 minutes to walk you through how to do something. So you don't maybe have to sit through an entire presentation to find 1 or 2 small items that you're looking for. But now you can see you have, these 7 different videos to walk you through: creating a handbook, how to add a custom policy, how to reorganize the content in my handbook. And then on the left-hand side, you'll see user guides, FAQs, and even some guided tours. So the Get Help and Help Center icon is going to be really your best friend. I always send videos from here to people that are like, I'm not quite sure how to do something, because they're short and they're seamless and they walk you through the exact steps. So maybe a week from now, you decide, you know what, I want to take a look at some of the training and assign those to individuals at my company. Well, what you'll do is you'll come in here, you'll go to the box that says, hey, add users. Maybe you're looking to upload your employees into Mineral. So you'll open up this area, and then you can see down below the same thing. You have a bunch of nice short videos that'll walk you through how to do some of the administrative pieces, like maybe you need to add a different location. Maybe you need to add a new user, or maybe you need to import several users at one time because you're doing 100 employees at once. So it'll walk you through how to do it. It'll give you all the instructions and steps. Very easy and seamless. This is probably, again, one of my favorite areas because it answers a lot of questions for clients that are looking to get more education on a topic. So come into the Help Center if you can't quite remember how to do something, or again, just need a little refresher on how to do something we talked about today. So I am going to actually answer one last question that we got. It looks like here, our organization outsources some of our program instruction to contractors. Is there an option to utilize Mineral to track our 1099 contracted instructors? Is that an upgrade I can email Vanessa about? That's a great question that I would probably reach out and ask the experts. So I appreciate the question. Because I'm not a dedicated HR expert, I'm not quite sure if that's something that they can help you track or not. Now, what's wonderful is obviously majority of people know that we've been acquired by Mitratech, who has an array more of products that they do offer. And our goal is to eventually work with CalNonprofits and our partners to be able to offer more of those products. So what I would do, if you have a question about, is this something that Mineral can do for me, I would reach out to those experts and ask if that's an option. And again, they'll be able to guide you through that process. So great question though. And again, same, ask Vanessa if there's something you're not quite sure about, if there's a product you're looking for, something addition, that whatever you're seeing today, she's going to be able to help, answer any questions or reach out to us to support you all. But with that, I'm actually going to kick it back over to Vanessa for some closing remarks. But again, thank you for your time and attention to go through the Mineral platform.
Thank you so much, Holly. That was a very informative presentation. And as Holly said, if you have any questions, please feel free to send us an email to membership@calnonprofits.org. I will send a follow-up email with the webinar recording. Thank you so much for spending time with us. And thank you again, Holly, and hope you'll have a wonderful afternoon. Thank you.